Talking markets with Tommy Grisafi from Advanced Trading, ATI ProMedia. Tommy, of course, a crop report out yesterday. This market was leaning lower, and when 11 o'clock came through, some bearish numbers came along with it, and it went further south from there. What's your take on this report?
Big numbers out of the USDA. You're looking handsome as heck in that sport coat and tie. I'm wearing a sweatshirt in my basement. It's Friday, and the USDA told us what maybe you and I and some others knew, is that the fringe states, it was the year of the fringe states. States like North Dakota did not disappoint. Big yields in North Dakota. The reason our friends, family, clients, and everyone else up there are still harvesting isn't because it's a small crop. And you and I hinted about that. We talked about it. I talked about it on TV. I thought the report could be bearish. I thought we might get a bullish reaction, meaning, yep, report's bearish, we trade down, now let's go. We didn't have that. So that would only bring me to think that lower prices are on their way. We're trading 467 in D's 23 corn. I am looking at the corn board, Don, across the spectrum. D's 23 corn's trading 467. D's 24, 508. D's 25, 507. And D's 26, 509. Let's just say 20, 24, 25, and 26 are all within a penny. My question to you, I'm going to put you on the spot. Is $5 corn too high or is $5 corn too low? Time will tell. But I can tell you this much.
What's happening with those input costs? I mean, that's got to be the biggest consideration. We talked last time about the high land sale we had here in northeastern North Dakota. So if rents go up, if that fertilizer bill keeps cranking higher, $5 corn may not quite make it. So that's a million question at this point.
Yeah, and farmers are allowed to lose money. Let's not kid ourselves here. Although the government tends to really kick in some programs, I don't know that the government has the money to give away like they used to. And nobody knows what's going on better in D.C. than you. What are we looking at? Are we gonna have a government that's working next week?
Well, as of next Friday, a week from today, the government officially runs out of money. We need to have a continuing resolution or pass all of the appropriation bills, which certainly isn't going to happen at this point. The problem is, I mean, Congress loves a deadline. They never get anything done until they have that deadline. But we have such a divide right now in particularly the House, such a very close margin between Democrats and Republicans. Very similar story in the Senate. It's going to be very difficult to see what happens here if they're going to move forward. There's actually a wing of the Republican Party that would like to see a government shutdown. So we'll have to see what happens here on whether those dollars are going to be available to keep this government up and running.
And back to your point about that land sale, I find that odd with commodity prices collapsing like they have the last few weeks. Maybe someone has a 100-year outlook, not a 2-week outlook like a trader or a broker would have. But commodity prices have come down a lot. One thing that's come down, and when you talk about those price of inputs, crude oil's $20 off the high, third week in a row that crude oil's come down, and that's a big input. I mean, crude oil goes into everything, whether it be transportation cost, everything. It's just not the fuel you put in your equipment; it's the fuel all the way across the board, and that's interesting. Well, maybe I heard a rumor right before we went on air that we're going to have a visitor here in America next week.
Yeah, Xi Jinping is going to be coming to San Francisco. It's been talked about actually for months, really. This is at the sidelines of that APEC conference that will be in the United States in San Francisco. And Biden will be there. And yes, the Chinese President Xi will be there as well. It's kind of interesting. We've been timing a lot of Chinese purchases just ahead of that. I think they may try to be a little favor with the United States ahead of that meeting. Obviously, we're in a position where we need them, they need us. So it'll be interesting to see what happens out of this.
It'd be a lot better if we worked together. They just have a different mindset, a different set of ethics and morals, if you ask me. And that's my personal opinion. No one asked me to give that commentary, but I did. What happens next? I mean, we got the big bad November report out. I think I will see you next week. we do need to talk one other thing. We'll talk about National Association of Farm Broadcasters. Then we got to touch on cattle because that was an absolute train wreck, and those numbers matter. Yesterday financially hurt people. But I will see you next week at the National Association of Farm Broadcasters. What is the National Association of Farm Broadcasters, Mr. Wick?
It's our trade group for the farm broadcasting industry and those that support farm broadcasters nationwide. We're looking forward to having you there. You're going to be on the program, I believe, next Friday morning, a week from today. And so it's a gathering of all the farm broadcasters. It's actually our 80th anniversary, so it'll be fun to celebrate and look back on where we've come in these 80 years and where we go from here. So that's it's going
Can
to
you
be
give us a little color about the first meeting 80 years ago, Don? Was it fun? Was it exciting? Did you have internet then? I couldn't help myself. It's Friday. I'm in a good mood, but I have to tell you, my friend, I'm concerned for farmers and ranchers. This
Ouch.
cattle market yesterday had a bad day. I know you're on the road, but the cattle had a very bad day. Feeders even worse. This is real. Now, yesterday hurt. It hurt real bad. And with interest rates as high as they are and cattle prices as high as they were, and all the inputs and I guess the only good news I have for you is that corn hit a multi-year low and that the corn you're feeding the cattle will be cheaper. But even with the Board of Trade selling off on the 11 o'clock report, the feeders continued to liquidate. And I don't know how many ranchers and people, we do have a fair amount of cattle. When you start to go out to western North Dakota, it's cattle country, and good folks hate to see them not be able to get a hold of all that money that was in their hands a few months ago.
A $7 drop in that feeder cattle market, it's dramatic when you look at those kind of numbers, Tommy.
Yeah, and we didn't put the high in a day ago. Like we've been dropping for a while. We bounced last Friday, a week ago. We had a nice bounce, and then just this whole week's been a down trade. The cattle producers do have other opportunities. There's insurance. We do have several brokers at Advanced Trading who are registered with that insurance. Nothing I should be talking about, but if people do need help with that, give us a call. We can set you up with one of our registered agents to look at more the government route of setting that AKA floor. Well, my friend, you have a lot of work to do, and you dressed up all fancy like that. I feel like you have a lot more to do than I do today, but we're going to do a live broadcast at 9 here today, and we're going to keep doing those every day at 9. And rumor has it you are a guest contributor on our new platform here. So we'd love to tell folks more about that in the months to come.
Good deal, Tommy. Look forward to seeing you next week in Kansas City.
Thank you, Don. Thank you for the opportunity.
Talking markets with Tommy Grisafi from Advanced Trading, ATI ProMedia.